Hi, this is Stephen from Moment Disso. Well, the moment has arrived to announce Lenovo Legion's updated lineup for 2022. They are announcing an update to the Legion 5, which is AMD based, the Legion 5i, which is the Intel version, the Legion 5 Pro, and the Legion 5i Pro. First, let's look at the Legion 5 and the 5i, which is now 15% thinner than the previous model. Its chassis is made out of a blend of aluminium and magnesium, coming in at 20mm thick and 5.29 pounds. It will come in two shades of grey, and they did reduce the Legion logo slightly to blend into the overall aesthetic. There's no mention of a 17-inch model, but the 15-inch now has up to a 2560 by 1440 G-Sync panel with up to 165Hz refresh rate and 3 millisecond response time with overdrive. Now there's likely going to be a Full HD option as well. Now the panel will be 100% sRGB and 300 nits. Now I do wish it would be 500 nits, but you will need to go for the 5 Pro for that option. At least the panel has Dolby Vision support to show more lifelike colours. Now under the hood will be the latest AMD Ryzen 6000 CPUs, probably the 6-core 6600H or the 8-core 6800H. But the option I would go for would be the Intel i7-12700H model, as that will give you a slightly faster single core performance and much better multi-core with 12 threads versus 16 on the AMD. Now here is a slide from Intel which shows up to a 28% performance improvement with their 12th gen. Even though they may have cherry picked these games, there is no denying the advantage they will have, certainly at 1080p. I suspect the AMD models will be a little bit cheaper, although Lenovo didn't list any prices here. So if you do opt for the QHD panel, the CPU will have less effect, so that may well be the value option right there. The best GPU you will see in the Legion 5 or the 5i is the RTX 3070 Ti, that is 125 watts. But this is still going to be a killer GPU. Nvidia claim it is going to be up to 70% faster than 125 watt 2070 Super, which will make it up to 50% faster than 125 watt 3070. Now in my testing, a 150 watt 2080 Super got 132 FPS in Shadow of the Tomb Raider compared to 149 FPS with a 165 watt 3080 and 116 FPS with a 125 watt 3070. So a 150 watt 3080 Ti should see about 185 FPS. And if what Nvidia says is true, the 125 watt 3070 Ti should be about 174. That is just over 15% faster than the fastest 3080, so I do think the 3070 Ti is the value option. The only thing possibly holding it back, especially at QHD, is the smaller 8GB of VRAM. I do expect there will be a mux switch, allowing you to maximize your frame rate and also battery life depending on your use case. You can configure it up to 32GB of DDR5 4800MHz RAM and up to a 1TB SSD PCI Express Gen 4, although I do expect a second open M.2 slot. Now my biggest disappointment in my opinion is the small 60 Wh battery in the AMD Legion 5 model. This was reduced from 80 Wh in the previous model. Now I do hope that perhaps they will be offering both a 60 Wh one with perhaps a 2.5-inch drive bay and an 80 watt one with two M.2 slots. And in comparison, the Intel Legion 5i does have that 80 Wh battery, so there is definitely an anomaly there. All of them models have a Full HD webcam, which is a nice step up from the usual 720p that we've been forced to use in the past. Lenovo has made great strides with their AI engine that helps keep the CPU and the GPU perfectly balanced. So there's less wasted heat, reducing noise and maximizing performance. Their ColdFront 4.0 improves the cooling. They have more heat pipes, a 40% more powerful fan. The heat sinks are 45% larger as well. Also, cool air is brought in through the keyboard, and Lenovo claims that the fan noise is so low and the keys are now 33% quieter. This means that you can actually game at work or in class without anybody noticing. The hinge is stiff enough to avoid screen wobble, but can still be opened with one hand, and the panel itself is very rigid. You get a full number pad with large arrow keys and a larger trackpad than last year. The 4-zone RGB keyboard is handled by their own software called RGB Spectrum, which allows custom profiles. Alternatively, you can opt for the white backlighting. Also, the WASD keycaps are swappable for a customized look, and the keys have soft landing switches with a 1.5mm of travel. Your underside is also clean looking. I do recall earlier models would have a big black plastic shroud around the air intakes. And the stereo Nahimic speakers are located at the front edges. I expect them to be just like my Legion 7 speakers, which are pretty loud and have good bass. Around the back you have the RJ45, a USB-C with DisplayPort 1.4 and power delivery up to 135 watts, HDMI 2.1 and the power port. On the left you have two USB-C ports, and on the Intel one of them is actually Thunderbolt 4, and both support DisplayPort 1.4. And on the right there are no ports, just the audio jack and the E-shutter switch. So at least this does keep cables away from your mouse hand. Next is the Legion 5 Pro that is available in Glacier White or Storm Grey. Now I do think the white one looks awesome, and I hope it is more widely available this time. Again, there will be an Intel 5i Pro and an AMD 5 Pro model. Now the former will go all the way up to an Intel i9-12900H, and this is a killer CPU. Intel claiming it is 13% faster at 1080p gaming and 30% faster at Blender rendering than the i9-11980HK. I guess much depends on whether they will be updating the Legion 7. Now I did ask them if they were going to do this, and they said, not for this announcement. But I do suspect they will let the Legion 7 be the model that uses the 3080 Ti. Now as for the GPU options on the Lenovo 5 Pro, it states that the latest RTX 30 series with 8GB of VRAM. So that would suggest to me an RTX 3070 Ti as being top of the line. But interestingly, it will use up to 165 watts compared to only 125 watts on the Legion 5. I also wonder if they will perhaps give an option for 165 watt 3080. So if you are after extra performance, the Pro version is the way to go. Especially as this year they got rid of the gamer orientated design on the lid. It has a much cleaner look to it, and I think this will suit more people. The display is 16x10, 16-inch, 2560x1600 IPS with a refresh rate of 240Hz. Now this is up from the 165Hz in the previous model. It will also have 3 millisecond response time with the overdrive. The AMD model is the first laptop with adaptive refresh rate panel, 165Hz to 240Hz, and both the Intel and AMD models support G-Sync and have a mux switch. Now the panel is brighter than the Legion 5 at 500 nits, with 100% sRGB and VZ Display HDR400 certified. Now it is the same thickness as the Legion 5 at 20mm, and it weighs slightly more at 5.48 pounds. Now both models do have the 80 watt-hour batteries, so if you go the AMD route, it might be better to go with the Pro rather than the Legion 5. Also, the Pro model has a slim power adapter, which I suspect the Legion 5 does not. It can supply between 230 to 300 watts of power. Again, Lenovo promoted their artificial intelligence mode, and this can be activated by pressing the FN and Q key. Now all of the other features on the Legion 5 are present on the Legion Pro series. I do suspect that the Legion 7 update will be announced at a later date. Now there's no mention of pricing, but since these new laptops are supposed to be available starting in February, I'm sure that they will be announcing this very soon. I'd like to thank you for watching. Bye now.